In the chilling climes of ancient Scandinavia, where the northern seas battered against the rugged coastlines under the veil of the aurora borealis, seafaring Norsemen whispered tales of a monstrous creature that dwelled in the depths. They called it the Kraken. The concept of sea monsters was not uncommon in Norse mythology, and their existence symbolized the inherent mystery and unpredictability of the deep ocean. One of the most notable sea creatures from Norse mythology is the Midgard serpent, Jormungandr, which encircles the earth and is fated to bring about the world's end during Ragnarok. Jormungandr's presence underscored the ancient Norse belief that powerful and enigmatic creatures dwelled beneath the waves. The earliest mention we have comes from a 13th century Icelandic saga, the Orvar Odr. This marine creature was first described as a sea worm or a giant fish larger than any animal of the kind in the world. Its story was kept alive for centuries through seafaring Scandinavians' oral traditions. The creature was believed to lurk in the deepest parts of the ocean, only surfacing to feed. To envision this creature, one must go into the realm where imagination transcends the limits of reality. The Kraken is said to have long, spear-like tentacles, each enough to ensnare and crush a sea vessel within its monstrous embrace. Some accounts even suggested their number to be around 100, ridge-backed and serpentine, waving threateningly above the water surface and churning the sea into a frothy, terrifying spectacle. It was also believed to have enormous eyes, glowing with an uncanny light in the eerie darkness of the oceanic depths, piercing through the profound abyss with an almost sentient aura, a burning beacon in the realm of the sunless sea. However, the most formidable aspect of the Kraken was thought to be its might to create a deadly whirlpool when sinking back into the ocean after surfacing. This maelstrom would act as an insurmountable vortex, strong enough to pull a whole fleet of strong warships to the ocean's bed, leaving no trace of their existence behind. The grotesque depiction of the Kraken was not only a product of the Norsemen's imagination. The Kraken shares parallels with other cultures' monstrous sea creatures, such as the Leviathan from biblical lore. This dramatic description of the Kraken as a massive, tentacled beast is not only a creation of wild imaginations, but may also be a reflection of real encounters of our forebears with the mystery-shrouded residents of our oceans. Over the centuries, the image of the Kraken started to shift and solidify into the image we are familiar with today. It began to be represented as a gigantic squid-like or octopus-like sea monster with huge tentacles that could seize and sink a ship with ease. The narration of the Kraken snakes its way as far back as the 13th century, weaving its lore through the fabric of Norse sagas. An intriguing document of note from this era is the King's Mirror, a Norwegian manual crafted for a king. The manuscript speaks not merely in hushed rumors, but in a chillingly detailed description of a sea beast of inconceivable dimensions, one that could be mistaken for an island. In this illuminating manuscript, the King's Mirror, a chilling detail stands out. The account mentions that an unusual abundance of fish often accompanies the presence of the Kraken. Fishermen, drawn to this spectacle, sail closer to haul in an excellent catch, oblivious to the lurking terror beneath. This predatory lure underscores the cunning and menacing nature of the Kraken, further amplifying its image as a formidable sea monster. These narratives left a deep impact on the seafaring community, leading to fear-driven respect and caution for areas of the ocean deemed to be territories of the Kraken. During this exploration of ancient records, it's crucial to underscore the way these sagas and tales were passed down generations, primarily via oral traditions. Words and stories were shared around flickering campfires and through the ebbs and flows of long sea journeys. Through these narratives, the scale and terror of the Kraken took shape, echoing across the vast expanses of the ancient Norse world. Our journey takes us next to the 18th century, a time marked by increasing nautical explorations and scientific curiosity. Here we find one of the most compelling historical accounts of the Kraken, chronicled by a noteworthy personality of the Enlightenment, Erik Pontoppidan, the Bishop of Bergen in Norway. An erudite scholar of natural history, Pontoppidan dedicated considerable attention to marine mythology in his expansive work, The Natural History of Norway. In Erik Pontoppidan's detailed treatise, he acknowledged the Kraken not merely as a legend, but as an astonishing fact of marine life, thus bringing the creature far more recognition and legitimacy. Pontoppidan described the Kraken as an unusual sea monster, attributing an enormous size and destructive force to it. In his words, the Kraken could engulf and swallow ships. His unwavering conviction was a result of the numerous sightings and terrifying encounters reported to him by sailors and fishermen during his time. Such detailed accounts brought to light the terror and awe that the spectre of the Kraken commanded. Pontoppidan's work gave rise to a surge of interest in the Kraken's existence, spurring debates and discussions among scholars, scientists, and the public. Such was the impact of his description that the Kraken became a prominent figure in European marine mythology, its tentacles reaching out and capturing the imagination of a continent. The Kraken had evolved from a terror of the Nordic seas to a universal symbol of the unexplored ocean's hidden horrors. Yet, through the lens of the 21st century, as we look back at these tales, accounts, and even presumed scientific descriptions, one can't help but question, could there be a kernel of truth that gave birth to such an enormous sea tale? One of the fascinating candidates that might have inspired the legendary Kraken is the giant or colossal squid. These incredible creatures are truly remarkable, capable of reaching lengths between 10 to 14 meters. In simpler terms, they're the largest invertebrates found on Earth. Their immense size and their preference for the dark, deep ocean align closely with various aspects of the mythical Kraken. Just picture a creature that resides in the profound depths of the ocean, occasionally surfacing to create a sense of wonder and mystery among sailors. These squids are like something out of a sea monster tale themselves, lurking in the inky abyss, waiting to capture the imagination of those who venture into the mysterious world of the deep sea. The fact that they live in such obscurity could very well have contributed to the idea that the Kraken was a creature dwelling in the hidden dark corners of the ocean, making only rare appearances that left sailors both in awe and fear. Imagine a world where these squids roamed the uncharted depths of the ocean, rarely glimpsed by human eyes, fueling stories of massive tentacled sea monsters. Their obscurity and the fear they might have invoked in sailors could have contributed significantly to the lore of the Kraken. Now, let's shift our attention to the mighty sperm whale. These majestic creatures are renowned for their epic battles with giant squids in the deep ocean. These encounters might very well have served as the inspiration for tales of enormous sea creatures locked in dramatic undersea conflicts. Sperm whales, among the largest predators on our planet, can reach astonishing lengths of up to 20 meters. Envision these colossal whales battling colossal squids in the dark, watery depths. These titanic struggles between two giants of the deep sea could easily have given rise to stories of gigantic, deep-sea creatures, with the sperm whale serving as a symbol of awe-inspiring power beneath the waves. It's crucial to remember that it's highly likely that all of these real-life deep-sea inhabitants collectively played a role in the evolution of the Kraken myth. Their enormous size, their mysterious presence in the ocean's depths, and the occasional interactions with sailors could have intertwined over time, gradually shaping the legend of the Kraken. Looking back at history, there are several theories regarding why the Kraken attacked and how seafarers took measures to prepare for such encounters. According to mythology and folklore, the Kraken attacked for a variety of reasons. Given that these stories were used to try and explain mysterious events or phenomena at sea, the interpretation of why the Kraken attacked can vary. One of the primary reasons for the attack, much like many real-life marine creatures, was simply to eat. It was believed that the Kraken would pull down entire ships to feast on the sailors. In addition to hunger, some stories suggest that the Kraken was extremely territorial and would attack anything that ventured into its waters. If sailors unknowingly disturbed the Kraken, it was believed that it could provoke an attack. Given the unpredictable nature of the sea and marine life, there were likely many Kraken attacks chalked up to simple bad luck or the will of the gods. However, it's crucial to note that these explanations are based on folklore and legend, and there's no scientific evidence to support the existence of the Kraken or its reasons for attacking ships. As fearful as seafarers were of encountering the Kraken, they still had to venture into the seas for exploration, commerce, or warfare. They relied on a mix of superstition, observance, preparation, and confrontation to deal with the potential threat of the monster. One of the first lines of defense was avoidance. Sailors would often rely on the tales of other seamen, marking locations where the Kraken was reported to have been seen, and would then try to steer clear of these areas during their voyages. In line with many superstitions at sea, some sailors believed that making offerings could help appease the Kraken and ensure a safe journey. This could involve tossing valuable items, food, or even captured enemies into the sea. In case they did encounter the Kraken, sailors ensured they were armed. This could involve cannons, harpoons, and any other weapons at their disposal. Additionally, there were beliefs that loud noises could scare off the beast. The firing of cannons, banging on the ship's hull, loud singing or shouting, any form of high decibel sound was used in the hope of deterring the Kraken. Remember, these were seamen who faced the unknowable expanse of the ocean with courage and their belief systems. Their methods of Kraken defense were based on their seafaring tradition, superstition, and rudimentary understanding of the sea and its creatures. Coming back to the present, let's examine the common misconceptions regarding the Kraken. Kraken is a single entity. Many people think of the Kraken as one monstrous creature. In the original folklore, however, the Kraken could refer to an unknown number of giant sea beasts. The word Kraken itself is a definite article form of kraki, a term in Scandinavian languages that signifies an unhealthy animal or something twisted. The Kraken was always squid-like. Much of the media today depicts the Kraken as a colossal octopus or squid. However, as we discussed earlier, this description didn't come until the 18th century. Before that, the Kraken was described in various manners, from fish-like to worm-like creatures, or even as a massive whale-like beast. The Kraken was purely evil. A common oversimplification is that the Kraken was an evil sea monster that delightfully caused destruction. However, in many early accounts, the Kraken was not necessarily evil. Like most animals, it attacked when provoked or hungry. In some tales, the creature was even seen as a sign of good fortune because large schools of fish were said to gather near it. The Kraken is a Greek mythological creature. Probably because of its inclusion in the movie Clash of the Titans, many mistakenly believe the Kraken is from Greek mythology. The Kraken is actually from Scandinavian folklore, with its origins in Viking sagas and Nordic seafaring tales. The Kraken has been proven to exist. While it's true that giant squid do exist, there's no evidence that the Kraken, as described in folklore, is real. The Kraken myth was likely inspired by the sight of giant squids or other large marine animals, encounters that were then embellished into stories of a monstrous, ship-destroying creature. Now, for the final time in the Halloween-themed video series, here is the story. Enjoy. In the biting and unforgiving cold of the North Atlantic, the seasoned fishermen of the ship Endurance welcomed the break of dawn with worn, hard, uncaring hands. They readied their nets and sharpened their hooks, prepared as always for the daily call of the wild sea. But the waters this day were teeming with an unexpected abundance of fish, a sight rarely beheld. A fortune thought themselves, as their eyes gleamed with an impending haul of plentiful bounty, but not old Kraken. For him, this unusual gathering of marine life was a harbinger of dread, an ancient omen that chilled his mariner's heart. His grandfather's fireside tales of such times echoed in his mind, tales of the terror that dwelled below. The Kraken. No good can come of this, Callahan warned, his weathered face etched with fear. The crew laughed off his superstitions, seduced by the glittering scales that danced beneath the ocean's surface. But as day gave way to darkness, an uneasy silence fell over the sea. The once welcoming waters grew still and ominous. The frothy waves succumbed to an eerie calmness. A thick, cold mist began to spiral and twine around the Endurance. From this unnatural calmness, the sea erupted. Massive tentacles, nightmare made real in their monstrous size and alien form, burst from the abyss. They latched onto the ship, their phosphorescent bodies casting a chilling, ethereal glow onto the Endurance, completely clasping its proud structure in a relentless, sinewy grasp. The ship creaked and protested under the onslaught, as startled sailors scattered, their yells of disbelief and fear merging with the monstrous roar of the beast from the depths. Men scrambled higher, clambering up the rigging, desperate to escape the reaching, winding death from below. But the Kraken was relentless. One by one, the tentacles found their human prey. Their echoing screams filled the icy air, mercilessly snuffed out by the crunch of bone and the tearing of flesh. The brave men of the Endurance were reduced to helpless playthings, lost to the harrowing, savage hunger of the Kraken. In the midst of this abyssal horror, old Callahan stood paralyzed. A bone-deep terror held him arrested on the spot as he watched his fellow seamen consumed by the ravening beast. The scent of fear and the tang of blood perfumed the salty air as Callahan's haunted gaze met that of the Kraken. Its eyes, burning like celestial bodies, bore into him, searing his soul with an unholy light. With the unexpected swiftness of a striking serpent, a giant tentacle seized him. The icy suckers, firm and unyielding, sent shivers of dread down his body as he was elevated from the deck. As his body was drawn towards the mouth of the beast, his vision was filled with the hopeless sight of his ship, his refuge crushed and splintered into kindling by the monstrous entity. As he descended into the cavernous maw of the beast, the spectral glow from its body illuminating his fall into the waiting darkness, his last sight was that of his home, swallowed by the sea. His final scream echoed into the abyss, joining the symphony of his fellow sailors' doomed cries. When the dawn broke, the sea was as peaceful and serene as a virgin snowfield, its surface unbroken by neither ship nor men, its monstrous secret hidden beneath the deceptive calm. Endurance, its crew, and their stories were spectral whispers drowned in the relentless sea. From hunters, they had become the hunted, swallowed by the wave of their worst fears. The legend of the Kraken turned a harrowing reality. Thank you for journeying into the abyss with us today. If you found this video enjoyable and wish to be a part of our community, kindly consider subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up. Until next time, let's keep exploring together.